The team meets this moment. This team behind me.
You announced some key members of your cabinet today, a very experienced group, a very diverse group. Clearly, you're trying to send a message. Can you articulate what that message is?
America's back. We're at the head of the table once again. I've spoken with over 20 world leaders, and they all are literally really pleased and somewhat excited. America's going to reassert its role in the world and be a coalition builder.
This lineup, those you've selected so far, a lot of familiar faces among them. What do you say to those who are wondering if you're trying to create a third Obama term?
This is not a third Obama term because we face a totally different world than we faced in the Obama-Biden administration. President Trump has changed the landscape. It's become America first, which meant America alone. We find ourselves in a position where our alliances are being frayed. It's a totally different. That's why I found people who joined the administration in key points that represent the spectrum of the American people as well as the spectrum of the Democratic Party.
Have you considered, for the sake of national unity, selecting or nominating a Republican, someone who voted for President Trump?
Yes, and we still have a lot more appointments to make. I want this country to be united. The purpose of our administration is, once again, united. We can't keep this virulent political dialogue going. It has to end.
Should we expect an announcement?
No.
Not ever or not soon?
No, not soon.
Okay. What about former rivals from your own party, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren? Have you talked to them about cabinet positions?
Well, I've talked to them. Look, as I said, we already have significant representation among progressives in our administration, but there's nothing really off the table. But one thing is really critical. Taking someone out of the Senate, taking someone out of the House, particularly a person of consequence, is a really difficult decision that would have to be made. I have a very ambitious, very progressive agenda, and it's going to take really strong leaders in the House and Senate to get it done.
The head of the GSA yesterday unlocked the mechanisms for there to be a formal transition of power, recognizing your status right now. Is that happening on the ground? Are there people talking right now who weren't talking yesterday?
Yes. Immediately, we've gotten outreach from the national security shop, from just across the board. And they're already working out my ability to get presidential daily briefs. We're already working out, meeting with the COVID team in the White House and how to not only distribute, but get from a vaccine being distributed to being a person able to get vaccinated. So I think we're going to not be so far behind the curve as we thought we might be in the past. And there's a lot of immediate discussion, and I must say, the outreach has been sincere. It's not been begrudging so far, and I don't expect it to be. So, yes, it's already begun.
Did you receive the presidential daily brief today?
Not today, but it will be starting very shortly, maybe as early as tomorrow.
Have you had any conversations with President Trump post-election about paving the way for this transition to happen? Any back-channel communications?
No, I believe that his chief of staff and my chief of staff have spoken, but no, I have not heard anything from President Trump.
You don't anticipate any harm from this delay in terms of your ability to do what you want starting day one?
No, look, it's a slow start, but it's starting, and there's 2 months left to go, so I'm feeling good about the ability to be able to get up to speed, and I fully expect, based on what we've heard so far, we'll get full cooperation from each of the agencies in question.
The day you take office, there could be 2, maybe 3 vaccines out there.
Yes.
We understand that healthcare workers will be first in line. What about the rest of us? How will it roll out? Will we go to our doctor's office? Will we line up at a stadium to get them? Who will determine the order of recipients?
Well, look, first of all, allegedly I don't mean that in an accusatory way. Allegedly, the administration has set up a rollout how they think it should occur, what will be available, when, and how. And we'll look at that, and we may alter that. We may keep the exact same outline, but that's in train now. We haven't gotten that briefing yet. Secondly, I think talking to, as you may know, I've had a Zoom with the leading governors in the country, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats. We've talked extensively about the need to cooperate and get the vaccine into places where you can actually get vaccinated, and their ideas of who they think should go first. I think we should be focusing on, obviously, the docs, the nurses, those people who are the first responders. I think we should also be focusing on being able to open schools as rapidly as we can. I think it can be done safely. So there's a lot to work out in the next 2 months as to exactly how it will be distributed. Now, maybe the hope is we can actually begin to distribute it. This administration can begin to distribute it before we are sworn in and take office. And so it's all in train right now. I'm feeling good, though, that now we'll be able to get all the hard data we need, which has been unavailable to us now.
We know the vaccine is going to happen, but as we speak, people are ignoring advice to stay home. They're crowding airports around the country right now. You've called for a national mask mandate. How much power as president will you have to influence people in ways you have not been able to as a candidate?
I hope as president, and many of the Republican governors and mayors felt the same way, I hope that we're going to be able to have a united voice on the need to mask, socially distance, testing, and tracing. They're critical pieces to dealing with bringing down this virus in a more manageable place. The words of a president matter, and I think it's critically important. I think it's a patriotic responsibility to wear a mask, to socially distance.
A moment ago, you mentioned schools. I want to ask you about that. New York City recently went back to at-home learning only. Some other big cities have made the same choice. What will you do to get kids back in school? How much will you be working the phones and working with governors and mayors?
It takes a lot of money to get them back. The estimates are $150 to $200 billion for the year it would take to get safely open our schools. For example, we know that we have to change everything from the ventilation systems in schools. We know we have to change the sanitary. We have to make sure everyone from sanitary workers right through to the bus drivers, they have to be clued in. They have to be protected. They need the PPE. They need the gear. They need the ability to have smaller modules of classes.
You've got schools closed right now in places where restaurants are open. Are our priorities correct?
I think we should be able to do both. But look, I'm very concerned about the schools. And for example, I was on the call yesterday was Mayor de Blasio, the largest school district in the country. He is in a position where it costs tens of millions of dollars to be able to safely open his schools. So there's a lot we can do, but it is the single best expenditure of our dollars we could engage in now is to provide for these kinds of protection. Not only protective gear, but the PPP, meaning the ability to allow businesses and other operations to be able to open and have the wherewithal, the financial aid to open safely.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.